You want to move to Vero Beach, Florida, but you don't know the fees associated with living in the beautiful Sunshine State of Florida. In this video, I will go over all of those hidden fees because they are actually affecting me as well. I'll go over some of the changes. I'll give you real life examples because I've done every possible move to Vero Beach you could think of, from out of state to in state, from Melbourne to Vero Beach, from Virginia to Vero Beach, from Texas to Melbourne. I've done every possible combination. So if you're looking to move to the state of Florida, I'm actually a real estate agent and I cover the whole Treasure Coast. So if you need help, please feel free to reach out because I will help you avoid these mistakes that I have made, and it'll make your life so much easier. Not to mention, I will teach you ways to save that money, which is definitely important if you're relocating from a new state, and we have a team just dedicated to helping you do that. But let's just jump right into it because these fees and different policies that have changed are going to affect you as a new Florida resident. We're going to cover insurance, property taxes, maintenance, HOA fees, pest control, just everything you could possibly think of, just so you can save a little bit of money, which goes a long way. And I'm going to teach you ways to avoid getting in a tough situation. So let's just dive right into it. And we're going to start with the thing that everyone loves to talk about, and that's going to be property taxes. While Florida does not have a state income tax, the way it gets its money for the government is through property tax. So how the roadways are paid for, school systems, government workers, civil servants, all that comes through the property tax. So if you're moving from a place that has a state income tax, you're probably seeing those allocations come from the state income tax, not the property tax. How the property tax is figured out is a common misconception, especially if you're not from this area. You'll think it's off the sales value. It is not. It's off the assessed value. So the assessed value could range from 70 to 90% of the sales value, or 50 to 90% of the sales value. So that's a common misconception that some clients kind of get mixed up, but definitely know that, and don't go off of the old homeowners' property taxes. They'll list exemptions on the MLS, and they could have a homestead exemption which says, hey, you get $50,000 off your property's assessed value, so you'll save money there, and you'll be accounting for that in your head, but you won't have that exemption yet, which I do a good job of sending that out so you don't miss that deadline, because I almost missed it. Again, these are all things that I'm learning from the mistakes that I've made.
I make mistake.
But I do a good job of noting that for you if you purchase your house down here and you're living here full time, or I should say 6 months in a day is the requirement, and have a valid ID for the state of Florida. But just keep that in mind.
I'll keep that in mind.
Another thing is Florida loves their veterans, so they could have a disabled veteran exemption applied as well. So if you're 100% disabled, they will give you that credit towards your property tax, so you won't pay a property tax, as well as they have variations. So if you're 80%, just definitely reach out and we'll go through the right avenues to get you taken care of. That's actually one of the reasons we moved here, is Florida loves their veterans and they do take care of us. So if you are a veteran, definitely take advantage of that, because you do not want to miss out on any kind of benefits that you could get. I know sometimes the military does a way of hiding some of those benefits that you don't really know of. I know I went through that before, but definitely reach out and we'll get that all squared away.
All squared away, sir.
Now the issue I'm dealing with is our property's assessed value definitely went up, and you can actually go and dispute that. So you can go to the board. It's good to have a couple different comps, which I would definitely know in advance, kind of what the property tax and all that stuff, square footage, year, a concrete block, all that stuff, before you go into the board, and just you can dispute it. So that's something good to know if your property taxes go up and you notice there. I mean, obviously neighbors talk, so you can kind of get a good idea of what's going on, and you could actually look at the property appraiser's website, which they do have a pretty good calculator which will kind of let you account for some exemptions. And I'll link that below as well, because that's just a good resource to have if you're looking to move into Florida. Now, another thing that'll catch you off guard if you are not from the state of Florida is going to be insurance. There are not a lot of insurers who want to come out into Florida and just insure a high-risk state, so it's kind of limited in that aspect, and there's plenty of reforms being done. But just know insurance definitely varies. I actually just came from a meeting that had a couple of my fellow realtors out there, they were talking about how their insurance went up from 5,000 all the way up to 11, and now they got to fight that. There's just a bunch of different things you have to consider. For example, I had a couple limbs hanging off of my tree, and it was over my roof just slightly. I'm talking, they were like twigs. They said they came out, they flew a drone. They said, hey, you got to cut those unless we're dropping you. So it's quick. If you have an older roof, I know this is another thing to consider. Try to find a home with a brand new roof, because an older roof that has less than 4 to 3 years of life, the insurance will most likely not insure that. Now, there's also different types of roofs you could get with different varying years. So there could be a 20 and 30-year roof. Let's say the builder comes out and says, okay, this roof is rated for 20 years, this roof is rated for 30 years. And in your head, you're thinking the 30-year roof would be better because you have longer time with that roof.
I know that's not the case here.
Just know a majority of the time, the insurers do not care. They will say, okay, well, you've had this room for 15 years and I need you to get rid of that, and I need you to put on a brand new roof, or we're dropping you from coverage, which has happened before. And let's say you could have a 2005 roof and it is in excellent condition, or a 2010 roof. They'll value the 2010 roof higher than they would the 2005 roof, just because of the age. So if you're looking for a roof, definitely just go with the shorter end, because your insurance is going to make you replace it. As well as they do have metal roofs here, and there's different styles you could get. I actually have a metal roof, and contrary to popular belief, I get perfect reception, except for sometimes T-Mobile is a little spotty.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
But that's T-Mobile, not my roof, because everyone else that comes over is completely okay with their cell phone reception. So I know sometimes that's a question I get asked. So, well, how does the metal roof affect my phone, my Wi-Fi, all that stuff? It really doesn't. Now, along with that, your metal roof could raise your premium, but they'll give you a credit as well. So it kind of evens out with certain insurance companies. Again, insurance all varies. I have multiple different insurers that you could get a bunch of different quotes and find the best for you, because at the end of the day, it's more about risk tolerance and how much risk you could handle, as well as what are the minimums and maximums you need for either your loan or just for your personal preference. Another thing to consider is all homes over 600,000 as of 2024 are going to be required to have flood insurance no matter where you are. Just know that it's going to change in 2025 as well. It's going to go from 600,000 to 500,000 in 2025, from 500,000 to 400,000 in 2026, and so on and so forth, until everyone just pretty much has flood insurance. I get it, it's below sea level, and your home is at risk of getting flooded, especially if you live on the island or certain parts of Vero Beach. Just know that when you're looking to move, just because it could save you a little bit of money. Now, my insurance has gone up as well, and that's part of it, and just kind of keep that in mind. Expect insurance to rise. They're never going to give you that break and say, oh, insurance is coming down.
That would be nice.
So kind of factor that in, especially if you are on a loan and you're on a tight budget. I'd never recommend reaching your maximum, because, for instance, when we were going through our process, the next year our amount that we owed is up like $300-400, which definitely makes a big difference, especially if you are on a tight budget and you're looking to get the most value for your home. Just know what will work best for you long term and take that into consideration. Now, another hidden cost is going to be the maintenance costs. So we do live close to the water, and if you're from one of those northeast places like Massachusetts that have a lot of salt water and other stuff, you kind of understand how it works. That salt water, that humidity, just the heat definitely takes an impact on your home and your appliances, your AC units, your water heaters. All of that stuff makes a big difference. For example, definitely get your AC serviced throughout the winter, so it's not having a hard time in the summer. If you do that, it will save you a ton. I would know, my dad's an AC man, so if you need that connection as well. But he always says service your AC, because if it gets to that point in summer, there have been wait times that have been ridiculous. You got to call around, and then at that point you're looking for your lowest quote with your fastest time and who's going to do it the best, and they'll probably charge you a little bit more just because it's summer. Look out for insulation. That makes a huge difference. What type of windows you're getting. So all of those minor, I would say, like maintenance needs that you have, take care of those throughout the year so you're not getting hit with a big upfront cost. Your storm shutters, your impact windows, your insulation, low insulation in the winter, so you're good for the summer and you don't have to deal with your house going from, you know, being put at 71 and it feels like a 78, which those impact windows with that tint will make a huge difference. And you know, even the window repair guy said he put his in and then, you know, they dropped from like 300-400 to 250. Just a bonus, if you're a Florida resident and you applied for that homestead exemption, so you get that credit, you are able to apply for My Safe Florida Home, which I am going through that process right now, and it is absolutely amazing. For every dollar you spend, they will give you $2 up to $10,000, and that is for storm protection. So that'll save you, you know, up to $10,000. So if your windows are 20, all you have to pay is 10, which is amazing. So just keep that in mind. And you could get an older home and replace the windows and have that My Safe Florida benefit to kind of utilize, which we're definitely going through. It's definitely a little bit of a process. They have to send their inspector out to kind of take a look at the home. You have to apply. They have to make sure you have your homestead. And then at that point, you would have to pick from a recommended list. Again, I have those connections as well. So reach out and I will help you with that, just because it has saved me a lot of money from going out and just flat out replacing all the windows. Now on to the more minor stuff before we go back to more of the serious topics is going to be pest control. It's a minor fee, but just know it's Florida. You're gonna have different types of bugs. We have big wolf spiders. You're gonna have those little garden snakes, those kind of roach looking things that will come in your home. Pay to get the pest control so that they don't come in and, you know, destroy your home. As well as if you have a frame home, definitely get it treated for termites. You don't want to have to deal with that if you go to try to resell your home. And then, you know, that's definitely something you're going to have to take care of, because no one wants to buy a home that has termite damage. And then the buyers will ask you for a credit, and, you know, vice versa. If you're moving here and you're looking to purchase a frame home, which again, they're all kind of built to the same standard. They have to be hurricane rated. So I know a lot of people just prefer concrete block. I live in a concrete block home. It's amazing, but some people do go for the frame homes because they are a little bit more affordable. Then again, your insurance kind of comes into play and you may have to pay a little bit more on insurance. But let's say you get that frame home and it has termite damage, you're gonna want the seller to kind of pay for that damage, just because you know, it's something that they should have been taking care of. And if you purchase that home, kind of consider that. I believe it's like $50 to $70 a month depending on what you're doing as far as pest control goes and who you're using. But it's definitely another you know, kind of minor thing you kind of have to consider. I guess that ties into maintenance, but definitely do that just to save you a headache. Another hidden fee associated with Florida is going to be the utilities. And just keep in mind, there is one power provider for this whole southeast region, and that is going to be FPL. Definitely note that, because if you're moving from somewhere like Texas where you're able to kind of shop around for your power, that is not the case here. FPL says the price, you go with it, and good luck trying to get someone on the phone and talk about stuff with them, because everything is automated. I've been on hold for numerous wait times, and so has my wife, which she definitely handles that a little bit better, has a little bit more patience, but it is just difficult to deal with. If you want to get to anyone and talk to someone in person, not in person, but on the phone, and not have it be an automated system, FPL kind of runs the whole southeast region, which that's kind of like a monopoly. I get the whole, you know, go solar and, you know, that kind of aspect, but that's completely up to you. Just know FPL says the price, how much they pay for power, how much you're going to pay for power, and you know, there's really no way around that.
With it.
Deal with it how?
Another utility is going to be the water, and that's going to vary depending on where you live. And again, reach out to me and my team. We would love to help you get you into the right location so you know exactly what you're paying in the long run. For example, you could have a well and you won't have to pay for any type of water. Now, there are some cons to well. For example, If you drive past homes in Florida that are on well, you'll see almost like this little like yellow ring or like this orange tint on the side of their house and or their car if their sprinkler hits it. If you don't have a good water softener and like water treatment on your home and get the salt constantly filled in, it could kind of affect that. As well as if you like to wash whites, you could kind of be faced with that issue and your whites will kind of turn a little bit of that yellowish just from the well water. You could get it treated. There are different types of wells, so you could get an artisan well, which is dug deeper and it's a little bit cleaner and fresher. So you could save money on not paying for water there in certain areas of Indian River County, or you could just go with the county water. So that's all just personal preference. And then that kind of depends on if you're using water a lot, what's your sprinkler system on. You could get a well dug for your sprinkler system. But again, these are all just variables that you kind of don't think of when moving to Florida, or you just, might not be aware of. Another thing we have to know is going to be those HOA or condo association fees, which are just going to vary completely, and it depends on the type of association you're living in, if you're even living in one at all, but they definitely range. There could be an association that just is more of like, hey, you pay $50 and it's optional, all the way up to $1,500 to $5,000 in HOA fees. Again, there's a wide range and it really just depends. Always expect your HOA fees to go up, and there'd be special assessments, and definitely expect them to go up over time. And what association is going to go down with inflation and having to make repairs, dealing with insurance and all that other stuff. Definitely just consider that if you're living there long term and you're more on a fixed income. Just note that, because that could save you a headache in the future. Now, if you're looking for a new home, a lot of them are going to be in associations, just being that's a lot of the developers who are developing them. They're in association, those brand new homes. Now, could you go and buy a lot and build on it yourself? Yes, but just know, look out for those associations and where you're moving, because they could have a definite effect over the long run. I hope I helped you avoid some of those hidden fees, and maybe you decided that Vero Beach is not for you. But if it is for you, please feel free to reach out. Me and my team would love to help you, get you in the right location, avoid the same mistakes I did, and you'll have a better understanding and a much smoother move. So I'll let my information roll on the screen, but if you have any questions, leave a comment, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff if you want to know everything about Vero Beach. But I will see you guys in the next video.